Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video, this fun leafy landscape scene inside this little kind of window here. It's not really a window, but it's kind of gives the impression of a window. We're keeping it pretty simple today, just lots of like flat shapes to get our picture. You can absolutely take it a step further by adding like highlights and shadows and texture to everything. But I wanted to keep this one nice and simple with just this fun color palette. I think it really gives a great effect. So if you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe. I also offer extra exclusive tutorials over on Patreon, so that's linked in the description below if you want to check that out. If you join over there, you get access to exclusive tutorials every month, along with sneak peeks of what we're drawing over here on YouTube. And if you join right now, you get access to all the tutorials that I've posted thus far. So I will leave some on the screen here for you to see, and it really helps support me so I can keep making these free tutorials here on YouTube. But before we get started on today's drawing, the only thing that you will need to do is download the color palette. I have it linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. Just save the file to your iPad and then double tap it or click on it and click open in Procreate so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the video today. And then I will post the canvas dimensions, color profile, and layers needed on the screen here and in the description below so that you can use those to set up your canvas. So take a minute to get everything ready and then come back and we will get started. Okay, this is the color palette that we'll be working with today. So let's just go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is set our background color. Then we'll make our outline for our picture, the little like kind of capsule shaped outline. And then we'll draw all of our pieces and bring it all together. So to set our background color first, we're going to go to our layer menu here, open up that, click on this background color layer to select that so that we can change the background color to this first color on the first row of the color palette. So select that to set it to that color. Then we'll go back to our layer menu just to get out of that. And we're going to turn on Symmetry to help us get our first shape. So under the gear icon, under Canvas, click to turn on the drawing guide, then click Edit Drawing Guide, set it to Symmetry, and this time we're actually going to change our Symmetry option. So under Options here, I'm going to click Quadrant instead, so that we get 4 sections. So this will just help get our shape perfectly horizontal, perfectly vertical, all that. So then go ahead and click Done once that's set, and then on our layer menu back on this layer 1 here, it should say Assisted now. If it doesn't, just click on it and turn on Drawing Assist. That means Symmetry is active on this layer. To make our outline, we're going to use our darker yellow color, the second one on the top row. So grab that. We're going to grab our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. I have the opacity for that brush at 100, size at 30. And the first thing that we're going to do is make a perfect circle to start our shape, and it's going to be in this upper half. So I'm going to draw a good circle shape, hold it down until it turns nice and smooth. Touch your finger on the screen to set it to a perfect circle. It's going to obviously make 2 circles since we have Symmetry on, but just click this circle button at the top. And now we need to resize and kind of center them better. So if you need to resize it at all, just click in between 2 of the blue dots, not on a dot. If you do on a dot, it'll switch it to like more of an ellipse, but you can click this circle button to bring it back to a circle. But if you touch in between 2 of the blue dots, it'll kind of help you set the size. So I'm going to maybe set the size out here for now, but I'm going to drag it around. So if you touch outside of it, you can drag it around. Don't tap on the screen. That'll get rid of the selection. But I'm going to drag it more towards the center where the circles are kind of overlapping and you only see the top and bottom one and not 4 different circles. So they're kind of overlapping here. I have them like touching in the middle about. But then I might make it just a smidge bigger than that. And we have a little bit of room on the top and bottom, nothing crazy though. So I'm going to do maybe this so we get a nice good spot for our picture to be. So yeah, a little room on the top, they're overlapping a little bit in the middle. So get yours to be where you like them, and then I'm just going to switch back to my pen tool, and now we're going to connect on the side with a vertical line. So I'm going to start at like the farthest right point of this circle, draw towards the center, hold it down until it turns nice and smooth, touch your finger on the screen to make it a perfectly vertical line. Click the line button at the top though to adjust it. Don't adjust the blue dots because that'll change the verticalness of it, but like mine is sticking out just a smidge on the circle here. I'm going to bring it in to where it's just kind of flush and transitions nicely into this vertical line, and you can see everywhere else that symmetry's on that it looks right. So once that looks nice and smooth, I'm going to go ahead and start filling things in. So I'm just going to drag and drop into this, click continue filling at the top, and then I'll just tap into my other spots with symmetry on. You shouldn't have to do too much. And that is our nice capsule shape. So this is going to be the outline of our picture. Now we need another capsule shape inside to actually color on. So I'm going to go to my layer menu and just make a duplicate of this layer. So slide to the left and hit duplicate. Be on the top one. I'm going to click on it and turn drawing assist off. And we're going to recolor it. So I'm going to click on it and turn on alpha lock now. So you can't color outside the shape. And we're just going to fill it this way. So now to get a different color, which is going to be our sky color, we're going to switch to that on our color palette, third one on the top row. Back to our layer menu, this layer now with alpha lock on, just click on it and click fill layer, and it just fills in that shape. You can drag and drop too. Sometimes that'll leave like a fuzzy edge though, so I like to do alpha lock and then fill it, depending on the scenario, but that works here. Okay, now we're going to resize it so that we still see that yellow border of our previous capsule shape. So I'm going to grab it with my arrow tool. I'm going to have it on freeform, and I'm going to make sure that I have snapping turned on in the bottom left. I'm going to downsize it a bit and then just recenter it. So center it on our vertical and horizontal yellow lines that pop up here, on our symmetry lines essentially. And then we can kind of see how it looks once it's centered. So we want our side edges and our top and bottom edges to be about the same size. So right now my top and bottom edges are a little bit bigger than my side edges, and I like the size of my side edges, so I'm going to extend it further on the top and bottom. So I'll just drag it up on the top and then I'll recenter it and see how it looks now. So that's why we have freeform on. If we had uniform, all of our borders would be all wonky. So freeform helps you get just that exact right kind of shape change. So I might change it just a smidge more, recenter it, make sure it looks good there. And I think that looks good for my little inner piece and our little border on the edge. Okay, and next we're just going to go ahead and make our water. So on my layer menu, we're probably just going to clip most things to this layer here, this pink layer. So they'll be on a new layer, but they'll be clipped to this so they also won't show outside of this shape. So everything kind of stays contained here. So let's make our water first. So on our layer menu, let's add a new layer above our orange layer. Click on that layer and set it to a clipping mask. So you'll see that pop up there. So now we're on our new layer and we're going to grab our watercolor, the second one on the second row, this lighter blue. And this time we're just going to grab our selection tool. I'm going to set it to rectangle and turn on color fill. And then if we start outside the shape here, we can draw. I'm going to start on the bottom and just draw across and up to about this halfway line where our symmetry line is, and let that go to fill it in. So that's our water. Click our selection tool to turn that off, and you can see on our layer menu it's got like a whole rectangle. So it's its own layer. If we were to like unclip it, it shows up on its own. So then when we clip it again, it's back to just being within that shape. But then it's on its own layer, so we can change the colors on it and stuff without affecting our previous layer. Okay, now that we have that in place, we can finish off our sky. We're going to make a gradient where it's darker at the top, lighter at the bottom. So I'm going to go back to my layer one, that's my orange layer. Alpha lock's already on. I'm just going to go ahead and switch to my fourth color on the top row. Back to my selection tool again, rectangle and color fill turned on. And I'm going to start maybe like a third of the way down on this top half here. So maybe right about here outside my shape, go across and maybe cover up like this middle third or so and let that go to fill it in. Selection tool off. Going to switch to my last color on the top row, fifth in line. Selection tool back on. This is our lightest one, so I'm going to just overlap with this last one a smidge and then all the way to the bottom of what we can see, and then down a little bit into the water too, because we're going to blur it and I don't want this darker color to come back up. So down quite a ways through below our water. Selection tool to turn that off. So now we should have our three colors here. Now we just need to blur them together to get our gradient. So I'm going to go to my wand icon, click Gaussian blur, and we're going to drag this up on the screen to maybe like 40 to 50%, somewhere in there. I think that looks good. And that is our sky. So next up we have a hill that's going to be below our water but above our sky. So I'm going to go to my layer menu. I'm going to add a new layer above the one that we're on right now, below our water layer. It should automatically set itself to a clipping mask there in between them. That's good. And then we're going to grab our orange color, first one on the second row. Still on our monoline brush now, and we're going to make our little hill in the background. So it's behind our water, kind of further away. So I might go up on the left side. I'll start on the left side outside my shape here. And I am just going to start there and maybe do a quick like curvy line across the other side. I'm going to do it pretty fast to make it nice and smooth. A few times till you get one that you like. I think that looks good. Then I'm going to connect it so that we can fill it in. So since it's on its own layer, it is not a closed shape. So I'm going to go around below my water with my pen, back up to the other side to connect it there and fill it in. If you're having a hard time connecting, you can go to your layer menu. You can click on this layer, turn clipping mask off so that you can see the edges of it, and then connect it that way, and then reclip them, and you'll have to reclip your water as well. But there's my hill in the background. Now that that's in place, I can go ahead and add my sun. So I'll just add that to the very top of all of my layers so far. Click on it and set it to a clipping mask as well. I'm not sure if it needs to be, but we'll set it there anyway. And then go to my layer menu, grab my sun color, which is my last color on the second row, the sixth one in line. Same monoline brush. And I'm going to make my sun in this upper left corner because I'm going to have more leaves on the right side coming off. So I'm going to do my sun in like the upper left. So just another good circle shape. Hold it down, touch your finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle, and go ahead and fill it in. If you need to resize it at all, you can just grab it with your arrow tool on uniform, and then you could resize it, move it around, anything like that. I think that looks good there. That's a good start. So now we just need to finish off our water. So we're going to add some rocks to it and then some kind of variation in the blue color and some quick like water lines as well. And then we can add our clouds and our leaves and then we're done. So nice and simple one today. Very, very cute. I love all the colors though. Nice and springy. So on my layer menu, let's just go ahead and add a layer above our water layer to make our rocks. So I'm underneath my sun now. It automatically set itself to a clipping mask there underneath my sun and above my water. We're going to grab our gray color, the fifth one on the second row. Now, we're going to make some rocks in the water. We're only going to see, from the water up. So it's going to always start with a horizontal line. And then the closer that they get to us, the bigger they're going to be, or the closer to the bottom. And then the closer to the hill in the back, they're going to be a little smaller. But there can be some good variation in the sizes as well. So I'm going to start with one maybe up here, and I'm just going to start with a horizontal line. So make a line, hold it down until it turns nice and smooth. Touch your finger on the screen to make it perfectly horizontal here. And then we'll draw like the rock shape itself. So then I'll start on one edge, kind of make some bumpy or wavy lines. Doesn't have to be too smooth or anything because it's a rock. It can be kind of bumpy. So then I'll fill it in. And that's my rock shape there. You can smooth out any pieces that you need to, but that's kind of the idea. So we'll just make them all different sorts of shapes and sizes. Again, a little smaller as they get further away. But there will just still be some variation anyway, so it doesn't have to be, you can make like a bigger one behind this potentially, or you can make like a smaller one in here even. It doesn't have to be that they're always smaller because rocks just come in different sizes and shapes anyway, but just generally, I probably wouldn't have a rock this big way back here unless it was like a huge boulder, but to give the illusion that, that's further away, we'll just make them a little smaller as we go back. You can even have some come off the edge, so I might make one in front here. Come off the edge, since we're clipped to this main shape layer, it won't go outside the edge of our picture here, but then I'll make the rock shape itself, but make sure to connect it back to the beginning still so that we can fill it in. And maybe I'll just do like another smaller one. Some can be like taller, smaller, flatter, bumpier, kind of whatever you want to do. Maybe I'll make like a pair of them here. Maybe another tiny one back here. So just a good variety of rocks, as many as you want. Maybe I'll make one more, just like you can see just the edge of it here, like so. Okay, and once you have a good amount of those, now we can make the shadows for them. So typically when you would make like a shadow, like if we were to reflect this hill, which we're not going to do today because I didn't like the way it looked in the picture, you would just make a duplicate of this layer, flip it vertically so that it's facing the other way, and place it below it so that it's like the reflection of it. For the rocks, though, since they're all on different like horizontal planes, you can't just flip it. This rock's shadow would be like way down here. So you could like adjust each of them as you go, but I'm just gonna draw a shadow. So I'm gonna go to my layer menu. I'm gonna add a layer below the one that we're on, above our water layer. It automatically sets itself to a clipping mask. I'm going to click the N and lower the opacity to get me started to just 50% so that we can see a little bit of a difference in our shadow color, but we're going to use the same color for our brush. So the same gray color. But essentially, I'm just going to make a quick shadow. It does not have to be perfect, but essentially for each one, I'm just going to go kind of below it in like roughly the same shape. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to blur it a little bit anyway. But just for each one, just kind of starting there and making a reflection of it. So if it's higher on the left side, the shadow will be higher on the left side, and so forth. It can be a little shorter though too, nothing taller, so never going like way down here or anything like that, but it can be kind of a shorter shadow. Or just kind of roughly the same shape. Okay. Once we have a shadow for each of our rocks, we are going to blur it first, and then we'll see how it looks and see if we want to change the opacity of it. So we already have it lowered, which is good for reflection. We don't want it to be as strong as our rock color is. So first, let's blur it though. So this time we're going to go to our wand icon, and this time we're going to click motion blur. And then whatever direction that we slide our pen is the way that it blurs. So for a reflection, we're going to do it vertically. So I'm going to start like maybe at this midpoint and blur downwards till I'm at maybe like 10 to 15% on the top of my screen here. But then my shadow should be kind of going, or my blur should be kind of going this way. And then if you have a little gap under these after you blur them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the layer with my arrow tool, and I'm just going to tap, tap, tap towards the top so that the shadows kind of sink upwards just a little bit to kind of cover up that gap. As long as you don't get anything too messy, it'll look good. Again, if you want to lower the opacity anymore, you can, but I think 50% looks pretty good, but you can definitely do lower if you want, like 30 to 40, but I'm going to stay at 50 for now. Okay, let's make some changes to our water now. So I'm going to go back to my water layer here, just this big blue rectangle, and I'm just going to click on it and turn on alpha lock so we only draw within this shape now. And I'm going to grab my third color on the second row, my slightly darker watercolor. And this time we're going to switch our brush to the soft brush under the airbrushing category. So find that. I'm going to set my opacity at 100, size at maybe like 5. And I'm just going to go through the water and kind of make some horizontal areas of this like darker color to just kind of give a little bit more movement and life to it. Nothing too crazy. Okay, then after the little kind of color differential, we're going to add some quick lines as well. So we're actually going to go above our rock shadow color for this, so that if we draw over the rock shadows, we'll see the line, but we don't want to see it over our rocks. So let's just add a layer above our rock shadow layer. It'll automatically set us up to a clipping mask. And I'm going to switch to this fourth color on the second row. We're going to switch our brush as well to the studio pen under the inking category. Go ahead and find that. Opacity is at 100. Size is at maybe 10. But depending on how hard or light you push, you might want to adjust the size. But we want essentially a bunch of like horizontal lines through the water. Instead of like drawing them each and holding them down, we're going to change our drawing assist to help us get some straight lines. So we'll go to our gear icon. Under Canvas, click to edit the drawing guide. Switch it to 2D grid. You don't have to change the grid itself. I'm going to lower the opacity a little bit so I don't see it so harshly. And then make sure to turn on assisted drawing. That's the main thing. Go ahead and click done. On our layer menu, this new layer that we're on should say assisted automatically, but if it doesn't, just click on it and turn on drawing assist. And now when we draw, it just gives us these horizontal lines automatically like so. So I'm going to draw a bunch of those. Again, change the size of your brush if you need to. But I'm going to just go all around, like you can go behind rocks, in front of rocks, off the edge, through the middle. Good variation. Some really small ones. Okay. Once that's done, I'm going to turn off our drawing guide so we don't have to look at those anymore. So under Canvas, I'm just going to turn the drawing guide off. It's still active on this layer, so you can turn that off too if it helps you to draw, if you just want to turn it off, but it's still active. But once that's done, that's it for our water. That makes it look nice and beautiful. Next up, let's go ahead and make our clouds in the sky, and then we'll make our leaves to finish it off. So on my layer menu, I'm going to add a layer above my sun layer, and this time we're not going to clip it to our shape. So the clouds are going to go outside of our shape. So just a plain layer at the top. We're going to grab our bright white color, the first one on the bottom row, and our monoline brush again under the calligraphy tab at 30%. And I'm just going to make a couple clouds, so I'm just going to start maybe about here, make a horizontal line again just like we did for our rocks. So start with that horizontal line, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen. It's going outside my shape a little bit on the right. And then to make our cloud shape, I'm just going to start on one side, do a curved line. You can hold that down if you want to. Do another curved line, maybe a little bit bigger. And maybe like one or two more to get back to the other side so that we can fill the shape in. So that's our cloud. Same thing over here. Maybe I'll do one like slightly in front of my sun, going off the left side, a little higher than my other one. And then again, curved line. Maybe this time I'll only do 3. I did 4 on the other one, but whatever works. Okay. So that's it for my clouds, very simple. Now we're going to draw our leaves. It's going to be a similar thing where they go outside of our shape. So let's just go ahead and go to our layer menu, add a new layer at the very top, and we're going to start by making our stems. So I'm going to grab my darkest green color, the second one on the bottom row, and same monoline brush, but this time we're going to increase our size to 100 to get our stem. So I'm going to start off the bottom of my shape, so outside here. We'll clean all of that up where it's not going outside on the bottom, but it's still going to go outside on the top. So I'm going to start maybe a little to the right of like center, curve a little bit with my line, and then hold it down. And then it should give you a nice curved line. If it gives you a straight line, you can click the line button at the top and see if it gives you an arc option. If not, you'll just need to redraw it like a little bit more curved to get that curve. But then you can click the arc option at the top to adjust it if you want to change the curve of the line a little bit. But something like this I think is good for one leaf. So then my leaf will come off the top here. We'll do a pretty small one on this one here. And then I'm going to go right next to it and make another one a little bit lower there. Another kind of slightly curved line. And then we'll have another leaf there. And the stem can even go inside the shape a little bit. It doesn't have to go off the top edge. Our leaf will, though. Okay, we'll do it a little bit shorter, maybe about there. And then I'll do one on the left side here. So starting off the left, and we're going to kind of curve it down this way. Hold that down. So something maybe like that. Adjust that if you need to. But yeah, I'm going to have it kind of curve back down. And then we'll fill in the bottom with a little bit more grass when we're done too, but let's start with these for our stems. So do 3 stems, however you want to. Okay, let's go ahead and make our leaves now. So on my layer menu, I'm going to add a new layer above this one, just a normal layer at the top. Grab our bright green color, the lightest one, 4th one on the bottom row. And I'm going to continue to use my monoline brush. I'm going to go down to 30% now again. Okay, so essentially each leaf is going to be like a heart shape, but with the point at the bottom of the heart being like the end of the leaf and the like part where it curves together being attached to the stem. So for example, I'll do this like lower right side one first. So I'm going to start the stem kind of, and it's not like a perfect heart shape, but that's just kind of the general idea, but something kind of like that. And then it comes together to a point and we fill that in, and that's like the leaf. I might make this one droop a little bit more, so kind of tilt your canvas however you want to do it, but maybe I'll start more like here. And yeah, it's okay for the point to kind of droop a little bit, but it's kind of generally a heart shape. So something like that. Maybe I'll thicken it a little bit. Okay, so that's the leaf shape there. The one up here is going to be kind of like really flat, like it's kind of facing backwards and it's really, really flat, the angle that we're looking at it. So same thing, I'm going to start at the base though and kind of make a general, like really flat kind of heart shape, really wide, really flat. And then it kind of comes to a point above it. Okay. Then same thing here. This will just be like basically a heart shape because it's kind of falling this way. I usually kind of start smaller and then I'll kind of expand from there, smooth it out. Again, doesn't have to be like a perfect heart shape. Maybe I'll kind of like have it curve a little bit on one side or the other. Fill it all in, smooth it all out. Okay, so something like that for my 3 leaves. If you want to adjust any of them, they're all on the same layer, but you can use your selection tool, set it to freehand and make sure color fill is turned off, and you can like select around one, grab it with your arrow tool, and then you can like resize it, rotate it, move it around, anything like that, like, you know, replace it on the stem there, something like that. Okay, now we're going to make the cutouts, and to do that, we're also going to use the selection tool. So same thing, we're on the same layer. We're going to grab our selection tool, set it to freehand, make sure color fill is turned off. And for each leaf, we're essentially going to have these little cutouts on each side that are always angling towards the base, towards the stem. So for example, on this one, on each side, we'll just kind of curve in, curve out a little bit, connect to the beginning, grab it with my arrow tool, and drag it off the screen. So that's kind of our cutout there. It was pretty wobbly. I'll do it again. But again, draw kind of quickly to get a nice smooth cutout, but we're just doing like a little triangle on the edge there, coming to a point towards the stem, like so. Okay, so then we'll do that for a few on each side. Back to the beginning, drag it off. Another one, back to the beginning, drag it off. Okay, you can also do them all at the same time if you wish. So selection tool again. For the other side, same thing. I'm going to curve in, curve off. Don't connect to the beginning. I'll just kind of go over, drawing on the screen. Curve in, and then go around to the top to connect it back to the beginning to drag it all off all at once. Okay, this one's a little flatter, so they're going to be a little skinnier and maybe smaller, and maybe you even see less of them. Like maybe there's only like 2 or so, or if there's 3, they're really small. Back to the beginning, drag it off. Same thing for the other side. Again, always towards the stem. Drag it off. Very fun, very cute. Last one, same thing. Again, towards the stem, towards the stem, towards the stem. Beginning, drag it off. Okay, towards the stem, towards the stem, towards the stem. Drag it off. However you want them to look, I think that looks good. Okay, lastly, we're going to add some grass to the front to just kind of finish off this bottom area. Then we'll get rid of all the excess. So on my layer menu, I'm going to add the layer of grass in between my stem and my leaf layer. So add a new layer in between there. Grab our middle green color, the third one on the bottom row. Same monoline brush at 30%. And we're just going to make some quick blades of grass. Again, going off the bottom, and we'll get rid of that part, but kind of just, you know, a quick blade of grass. So come to a point, back together at the bottom, fill that in. Something like that. Nice and big ones. You can have them like connect to each other. or not, but just kind of along the bottom here. Always wanting them to stay in the edge at the top though, so that we're not like going over the edge here, because that'll be hard to get rid of. So maybe just a few pieces like that at the bottom. I think that looks good. Okay, now we need to get rid of the excess, and to do that we'll go to our layer menu and we'll find our pink like capsule layer here that everything's clipped to. Click on that layer, click select, and now you'll see make sure color fill is turned off, and you'll see all these diagonal lines outside the shape. We're going to click invert, and now all the diagonal lines are inside the shape, and that means that everything outside of it is selected. So now to get rid of the excess down here so that everything else stays inside, we're going to go back to our layer menu, click on our grass layer. We're going to grab our arrow tool and just drag it off the screen. So that should get everything outside of that. And that works for the grass. That's not going to work for our stems because we don't want to get rid of everything up here. So we'll do something a little bit different, but that should work for our grass. So then back to our layer menu, back to our pink layer, click on it and click select, click invert. Again, diagonal lines inside. This time we're going to switch to our stem layer, and we're just going to use our eraser tool. And I'm just going to erase everything at the bottom here. So again, you can see with the selection on that it would be selecting all of this stuff too, and we want to keep that stuff that's connecting to our leaves. We just want to get rid of the stuff at the bottom so that that is nice and clean. Once you have that all erased, click your selection tool to turn that off, and that leaves our picture exactly how we want it to be. So once that's done, that's actually it for our drawing today. Again, if you want to, you can add textures, shadows, highlights to really, take it to the next level, but I think it looks so pretty just with the flat colors as well. I think it looks nice and bright and beautiful. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you like the way that yours turned out. I hope that you maybe learned something new. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what you thought. The likes and comments really help out my channel to help show my videos to more people, so I really appreciate it. And then make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on any future tutorials from me. If you would like to share a drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it, so go ahead and post it there and then tag me so that I can check it out. And while you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching.